Hi guys, I'm back. So the screws that I thought I was missing here in the last video actually don't go on there yet. They're in this kit. Because that's where the front tower brace mounts down. So we're going to get started with bag I. You can tell I'm not a professional car builder. Do a lot of back stepping, redoing, stuff like that. So we're going to start with step I1, which is going to be the roll bar. Which is that. And we got our little ends for the bar. And all sorts of grub screws and screws in here. Hopefully they don't roll away. Put the little baggies here so they don't go anywhere. Alright. So we've got balls here, which are going to screw into the ends. Don't look like any washers going there, which is good because there ain't no washers in there. Screw the ball into the end of the eye. When you're done, it should look like that. We got two of those. Just like so. Now we got two of them. And then we got little tiny balls that are going to pop in there. We're going to use our shock tool again to pop these little things in there. Just like that. And we got one more. I missed the line, that one? Yep. In the center. Alright, now. There it is.
Why are you hungry?
I'll get it off the tool.
What? You went outside? Look.
The ball got stuck on the tool.
Are you going?
There we go. Should get on there that time. Shiny side.
They're out here.
Alright, ball stayed in there that time. Yeah. and it's nice and free in there. Good. Didn't destroy it. Alright, so we got our bar here. We'll have our aluminum colors that are going to go on with the chamfered side facing the middle, I guess. Supposed to be able to go on there. They tell me it's supposed to go on there. Gotta force them on there. Alright, so give me a little grub screw. It's going to be a 1.5. Looks like it's a 1.5. Put a little bit of thread locker on there. And this will go all the way up to the corner here. Grub screw is supposed to go on there. I guess keeps it from going side to side. I'll get to force the one on the other side. So what I'm finding to make it easier is line the hole in the screw up with the point on the arm, like so. That way when you push it through, it gives a little bit, I guess. Got a little bit extra room. Alright, another grub screw. A thread lock. Whoa, too much. Way too much. Alright. Get it started. I'm going to line it up with the other one. Alright, so both of those are in there. So I'm going to pop the cup on the ball. Same thing with this side. Alright. I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to put it in here. Get the grub screw first. It's going to be hard to handle that and the grub screw. So we got a little grub screw here. And get it started in the plastic. Where's the angle? Let me straighten that up and try again. There we go. Alright, so to make it easier on yourself, and because that's how it's going to line up, try to get that grub screw tightened down on top of the bar. Don't over tighten it because you are tightening a grub screw into plastic. It's going to look like that. We're going to do the same thing the other side. Get our grub screw started, and then we're going to put it on there. You keep on going crooked, put it down straight. Alright, make it like the other side. Alright, so then we got both of our danglies here. So we got our little channel here for it. So that's going to sit in there. And the balls are going to go into the arms like so. And I've got these two screws here. Open their 2mm, yes they are. So they're going to screw through the ball and then screw into the arm. It would have been easier if they had us do this while the arms were off of the car, putting those pieces on. And then we could have just popped the balls right down on. That was on. Other side. Go down in there. Almost there. Alright, that's tight.
Motion detected. Motion detected.
Alright, so that's in place. So now we're going to go on to bag number 2, step 2, I2. Alright, there's our tower brace, our tower. We got our bags of screws, nuts, and fittings here. It's got spacers in it. Also, little grub screw just tried to run away. Alright, so First things first, we're supposed to take our tower with the flat section front, like so. Then our carbon fiber is supposed to go down over the top of that. No. So we're supposed to have 22mm button head screws, which are going to be these long ones here. They're going to go through this hole here. Let me show you the inner hole, not the outer hole.
Motion detected.
And then we've got our upper shock mount that's going to thread all the way down that screw. Matter of fact, I'll put a dab of thread locker on that just in case. I know it's going to have a nut on the outside, but still. It's not something you want loosening up during a race. Still going. Alright, so I'm going to take my 2mm, see if it'll snug up without the wrench. Yep, cool. Alright, then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Inner hole, a little dab of thread locker, not at the tip. We're going to go in just a little bit. That way we won't get as much on the nut when we put it on there. It's probably going to be a nylock. Alright, that one went in a lot faster. And tighten it up without the wrench. Sweet. Alright, so then we got our shock tower. Alright, now we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 14mm. So 1, 2, 3, 14mm button heads. And that's going to go through the lower hole, through the middle hole, and the other lower hole. And then there's going to be these thick black spacers on all 3 screws. There's one more. Then I'll roll away. Kind of push this into place and then get them started. So multiple screws, so you may want to make sure you get each hole started before you tighten anything up. Like that right there. And miss the hole to start. We'll tighten the middle one up first, that way it'll pull all of them together evenly. One more, I'll Go through and double check, make sure everything's tight. Make sure that was nice and snug. Nice and snug. Nice and snug, sweet. Alright, now those are together. Looks like we're going to set it down on the car. So we're going to cover up our roll bar. And that's going to go to these screw holes and this screw hole. The screw holes on the bell crank assembly. Top plate. Alright, that sits into place there. And then we've got a few barrel screws here. Let's see which ones we need. We got 12s and we got 10s. Two 12s, two 10s. The 10s go on the front, and the 12s go on the rear. And those are going to be a 2.5. They're going into plastic, so no thread lock needed. Looks like I've got some extra screws in this bag, so we'll flip the page once this is done and see if there's somewhere for them to go. So the two nuts and the two washers are going to be for the shocks, I know that, but these are probably shock mounting screws. Okay, so that's probably putting the shocks on there. Guarantee that's what that's for. Alright, so we're going to take our other two button head screws, and these are going into metal, so they're going to get a little bit of thread locker on them. They're going into the bell crank stems. Because there's a bearing there, you want to make sure you don't have a bunch of extra thread locker on, just a little bit on the threads. So you don't want it squished down into the bearings for the bell crank, or you'll be cussing. I've actually made that mistake before, and it locked the bearing up and ended up wearing out the servo and the bell crank stem, the rods. So that stuff does dry up a little bit. Alright, bell crank still moves smoothly. Alright, so because we're not putting shocks on right this second, I'm going to go ahead and put washer and just hand thread a nut on there. A washer and hand thread the nut, just get it out of the way. I don't think they're going to have us putting the shocks on until we do the rear tower. I'm not sure though. Alright, so then we got two little grub screws, and they will go in here, and you're just going to snug them down onto the roll bar, the sway bar. I'll show you all what to do with those after we do that. Right, so you just want to snug it down. When you snug it down, your arms aren't going to move. They're going to be kind of stiff. So you're going to turn it out on half turn. So basically what it's doing is it's keeping it from flopping around, but still gives you just a little bit of tension on there. If you want it looser, you can go a little bit looser, but that's yep. That's how I like it. Alright, now we got these 2 extra screws here. Let's see if we're putting the shocks on yet. I'm curious. Yes, we're putting the shocks on now, so we'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to grab the front shocks out of the box. Get these nuts and washers off here. Grab the short shocks. Alright, got my short shocks. So I'm going to go on with the flat section facing front. Flat section facing front. And I like to put them on with the bleed screw up. It's just something I've always done with my cars, and it helps if you're ever in a race day situation and the car feels like the shocks are getting stiff. Say it's a hot day, you start building pressure, you can just bleed them. Alright, now showing these going into the outside hole. Make sure that the flat part of the ball is facing the arm. Get them pretty snug in there. Same thing on this side. Flat part of the ball facing the arm. And going to the outer hole. So far the setup is just like how I've got my D4 running that one on the outer shock holes and running on the inner holes on the tower. Alright, so we got that. Now we're going to get our spacer washer and our nut on one side, and then a spacer washer and a nut on the other side. And I have to figure out what size. There we go. That is a 5.5. Tighten that all the way up and snug it down. They give you enough room to where your spring still moves around on the ball. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. The next one will be working on the back half of the car. I'll probably do that one tomorrow afternoon. How nice that is. Yep, so I'll probably work on wrapping up the hard part of the car tomorrow afternoon. Build the rear half of it and then put the buckles and everything on it. Alright, thanks for watching.